Hi there, it's Nicole Allison and I write over on the blog speechpeeps.com, and today I'm going to share with you my professional portfolio, everything that's in here, and why it is so important to have one and to be updating it every single year. So first of all, what is a professional portfolio? Well, in my mind, a professional portfolio tells people exactly who you are and what you believe about education, but even more important than that, it documents everything that you've been doing. And let's just say we do a lot, right? We take really good data on our students, but a lot of times we don't think about taking data on ourselves and everything that we've been doing throughout the year. So I always say in May, at the end of the year, make sure to document everything that you've been doing and update your professional portfolio, because I guarantee it is gonna be so hard to remember what you did come fall, thinking back the previous year. So if you've never done a professional portfolio, I encourage you, make this year the first year. Start today and be thinking about everything that you've been doing over the past year. Because a lot of times we get out of grad school and we're really good about doing that, but then we get into a groove and we go throughout our years, and pretty soon, like, this is gonna be my 9th year working, and it is just so hard to remember all the way back to those first couple of years. So it's really good to keep a record and to just keep updating it, because say if you are going to get another job, even if you don't think you are, it's really hard to go back on your resume and think 9 years ago or 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. So I just really encourage you, if you haven't been making a portfolio, to start this year. It's never too late. And if you have been doing it, that's awesome. Keep doing it and make sure to update it this year. So I'm going to turn you around and we're gonna take a look inside my professional portfolio and you can get some ideas. This is also available in my Teachers Pay Teachers shop if you don't wanna create one from scratch. If you do it, that is fine. But if you don't want to create one from scratch, know that there are templates and all of mine is written out. You just have to go in there and change and edit and make it your own. So let's take a look. Okay, so here's my professional portfolio. I'm just gonna dive right in here. So here's my table of contents, and you can see everything that I include in my portfolio. If you purchase this in my shop, you can go in here and edit all of these things to make it completely yours. So you can type right in here. If you don't want to include some of the things, you don't have to, or if you want to add some other things in. So I basically have my teaching philosophy, my resume, a sample lesson plan, an IEP evaluation, a student breakdown, my favorite part, annual report. I can't wait to show you guys that. And then from here down are all the evaluation forms. And then if you take a look over here, you can just see I've made tabs for all of the areas. And then back here I have some post-it notes, and we will get to that. So I'll go ahead. My teaching philosophy, I just really encourage you guys, if you have not sat down and wrote out a teaching philosophy, please do. It's just such a good exercise, I feel, to really dig into what you believe about education, what you believe about teaching. And it's a really good reminder year after year when I go back and kind of tweak this on why I got into this field. And sometimes we need that reminder, especially after maybe a hard year, a hard caseload, things like that. So this is just a really beneficial exercise, I think, for everyone to do. And then this is included. You can go in and edit that, obviously, if you don't agree with some of the things or wanted to add some other things in. Next, we're going to my resume. And you guys, I just have to say, this is so neat that some of you have emailed me and said, I got the job, and I think some of it had to do with the resume that I used that was from you. That is just so heartwarming to me and so exciting. So I just really like this resume. I really like the format, how it's really clear, I feel, the headings and things like that. You can go in and completely change the colors, change the font, change everything about this resume, but it just gives you a nice baseline, a nice starting point. So, and if you guys don't, I highly recommend updating your resume, if not every year, definitely every 2 years, just because it's really hard to go back when you're finding a job, to try to go back and think over the years of what your responsibilities were at the job. So it's just best to do it while it's fresh in your mind, and then it's not a big deal if you're up on it every year, every 2 years. All right, here's my sample lesson plan. Now, I will just say, I do not write lesson plans for my students every day or for any group every day. This is just for when I get evaluated. I'm coming clean here because we don't have time to write a lesson plan for every single group. So this is when I was getting evaluated. It just kind of helps my administrator know what the group is going to be like, what the standards are that I'm addressing, the objectives that I have, and then kind of the curriculum and the materials that I'm using. Okay. And then I also include an IEP, a sample IEP, and a sample evaluation in my portfolio. And you might be thinking, why? But these are big documents. These are legal documents. And, I think this whole portfolio is really to kind of toot our horn. I know that doesn't always, sound really good, but that is what we need to do sometimes. And to be honest, I feel like I'm really good at writing IEPs. If I have a question, I always go straight to the source. I read the law, and so I know exactly how to write them. So I just feel like that's an area that I am really good at. And honestly, we all should be good at writing IEPs because we write so many of them. So I want to include a sample IEP, and I block out all of the identifying information, but then my administrator can look through and see, what the IEP is like. Also for an evaluation, I do the same. My student breakdown, this just gives a nice overview of my caseload, what my caseload looks like each year. So you could see on IEPs, I had 35 students with language needs, 8 with articulation, 8 combined, not many fluency, some social, things like that. That was on IEPs. And then I also do the same for students receiving intervention that are not on IEPs. Okay. Now here's my favorite part. This is my annual report, and this is basically everything that I do, all condensed into one page. Now, I wanted to squeeze mine onto one page. You might be overachievers, and you might have 2 or 3 pages, but these things are all really good pieces of information that we should be keeping track of. So I'm going to kind of zoom in here. For example, this is how I schedule traditionally. I do traditional pull out, but then I do 2 classrooms per week. This was when I was in the public schools, and then other classrooms by request or topic. How I contact parents, progress reports every 5 weeks. You guys, I was writing 80 progress reports every 5 weeks. I felt like I was just always drowning in paperwork. Insane. How I identified students on my caseload. I did kindergarten screenings, preschool IEP meetings. I did all of the hearing screenings for the district. My caseload, this is kind of what my caseload looked like. So for direct service, I was seeing 55 students on IEPs, and then 4 were receiving things like consultative services. Students on IEP with speech language impairment, that means that I was the main case manager for the IEP, and that's the only service that they were receiving, whereas 42 students with speech as a related service, intervention students. And then I'm just going to zoom up on this because this is such an important part that I don't feel like we document enough. Results. You guys, we do have an impact, and we are having results. And this is just really good to go back and look at how many kids that graduated, how many kids were dismissed off of their IEP or intervention, because this is, this is just really important. We tell our students to document and to make progress on our goals, and yet we don't often, document our progress ourselves. So especially when you're having a bad year and you don't feel like you're making a difference or anything, go back and look and see how many students got dismissed off of your caseload. Additional activities, you guys, look at this number right here. This is how many IEP conferences I attended this year. Crazy. And then total evaluations, things like that. Other activities can include things like your professional development, perhaps you attended a conference or took an online course, anything like that. So again, this page is just kind of a snapshot of everything that you do in the year. And obviously you do not need this resource to do this. So if you do not get this resource, that doesn't matter. I'm still telling you, I highly recommend you going and creating your own annual report and documenting it every single year. Okay, and now this part all has to do with the evaluation portion. So prior in my district, they didn't really have an SLP evaluation. They were going to evaluate me based on a teacher evaluation. And so a few SLPs and I got together and we created our own evaluation based off of ASH's domains. So this is all based off of ASH's domains, and then, but it's really neat. So I'm gonna show it to you. So this is a pre-conference planning form. This is what you would fill out before your evaluation and before your administrator came to observe you. And then this is the evaluation form. So you can see these domains, and then under the domains are areas. And then what's really cool is I provide what you could use as evidence to show that you are competent and proficient in this area. So for example, to show that I demonstrate knowledge of my students and my caseload, I use parent checklists. I send those out before IEP meetings to kind of get to know what the parents' goals are for their students, what the students like, their interests, their dislikes, things like that. I have an evaluation example and an IEP example, and then any teacher emails that I have sent about the students. So just my administrator is seeing this, but I can use all those things as evidence. And then that's what I've used back here on my sticky notes. So 1A would correlate with this area. Okay, so you can see that. This is the evaluator evaluation form that they would be filling out. And then this is the post-conference planning form that you would fill out after the evaluation. So that is my professional portfolio. I hope you got some ideas. I hope you felt inspired and encouraged to begin your own professional portfolio. I know it's a big to-do. I know it seems like a big task right now, but I really encourage you to sit down and take some time, because I know at the end, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be able to see your year and everything that you accomplished, and you're gonna have documentation of it. If there's templates that you like, these are available in my Teachers Pay Teachers store under professional portfolio, but feel free to go ahead and create your own. I hope this video was helpful, and I will talk to you later. Have a great summer.